tribe member A is like, "You fucking asshole," and kills him.
Right.
And then they all dip out.
Right.
And the three remaining, monkey men, or whatever, they look like
Planet of the Apes. Yeah.
They're like, "No, come back! No, this is the only way."
Right. They're eager for peace. So they're like, "Don't let this one bad apple."
Yeah, ruin the whole damn bunch. And so Reva's understandably upset.
Yeah, he's.
And Picard is just like, we can learn sign language,
right?
And like he's doing like ASL, and Data learns it.
Which it's weird Data doesn't already know it, but whatever. Earlier in the season they established that Data's got all the knowledge that the ship has, right?
So the ship doesn't have it,
but the ship does because they look it up. He's reading it on the ship's computer, so it doesn't matter. I mean,
I guess
it's a small thing. It's not like, what the fuck, now I don't believe in this universe anymore. But I always think it's interesting too, the way that he just sort of watches things instead of matrixing it. I talked about this on our Facebook page, like the fact that he doesn't at least yet have a port that they just plug in and it's like, okay, I know sign language now. Like he actually has to sit there and look. Yeah, exactly.
And Picard's like, look, we got this issue. Like, we got this issue.
You gotta calm down.
And Reva's like, no, dick. Like, first of all, they were my friends. Like, they just weren't like three people that always hung out with me.
They were like part of him.
And and he's like, we had like
a lifetime of building this.
And like the way I would say I'd be able to communicate, and he would like sign language to Data, and Data would just repeat it.
Right.
And he's like, there are nuances and there's like subtleties. It's not the same.
Yep.
And so, Troy's like, you got to figure out a way,
right,
to connect with these people. Like, look,
we can't bring them back.
It's spilled milk, Your
buddies are spilled milk.
You got to figure it out, and he does. And I guess it's.
How do they end up solving it?
He teaches them sign language.
That's right. And so the idea being that not only would they be learning to communicate, because in the in-class exercise, you got to talk to your partner. So, which is fine. It's a nice ending. It was a perfectly nice episode. Not like amazing, but also not offensively bad. It's not like what was the really bad racist one from season 1 with the Coming to America guys?
Whatever it was called. It was.
See, I want to say Code of Honor.
Code of Honor.
It was
right?
Code of Honor. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's been the only just like really bad episode so far.
Yeah, I agree.
It's early on too. It was the third episode. Was Code
of
Honor. Our next episode is a Schizoid Man. Did you like this one?
I didn't hate it. It felt, it really did feel like an old Trek episode in as much as there's something going on and the crew is really fucking slow to pick up on it about what's going on. This is the one where the guy, where they go down to the planet and there's the old doctor who's dying, right? And he takes over Data.
Dr. Ira Graves.
Who is that actor?
Who is apparently the most brilliant man ever.
Aside from Zephyr Cochrane and all the other most brilliant men ever that the Enterprise has ever picked up.
He's played by W. Morgan Shepherd.
That actor, he's got to be one of the... He feels like one of those guys you're like, oh, it's that guy.
He was in a couple episodes of MacGyver.
That's got to be it.
He was in... he was the warden of a Klingon gulag in the Undiscovered Country.
That's probably where I know his voice from then. Oh, he's also in The Prestige, isn't he? William Morgan Shepherd? Yeah, he was in The Prestige. He was in Transformers.
Okay, there you go.
Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart.
The David Lynch picture.
And so he's sick. He's dying. So
yeah.
They have to figure it out. When they roll up there with Data, Troy, Worf, and
Lieutenant, what's her name?
Lieutenant
Vulcan.
Another doctor, and she's Vulcan.
She's very
Dr. Solar,
I think. Very lovely.
And he immediately starts spitting game at Troy.
Right. As men are wont to do, apparently.
And he says that that women aren't people, they're women. Whatever
Which
that.
is like, I think he means it as a compliment, but it seems really creepy.
I think it's. I don't.
Because he kisses her hand after he says it. He's
I
like,
think
women aren't people.
I think he thinks it's a compliment.
Right. It's like a creepy old dude trying to be suave, and you're like, no, you're just a creepy old dude.
Like, that's just awful.
Yeah. You're right.
He claims that he's Data's grandfather because he taught the guy who always wrong what was it called? Like,
seldom right soon or something.
Always wrong soon.
Something like
that. He taught him.
I watched this last night and I can't remember.
Well, no, they don't reference that nickname and.
Right. Oh, okay. They don't.
And, no. He's like, you're Soon's work, and he's like, I am. He's like, oh, that makes me your grandfather because I taught him everything he knows.
That's right. So he starts calling him Grandpa.
And then fucking apparently.
He's got some kid living with him.
Apparently, Graves and Pulaski are like homies because Graves starts throwing shade Data's way, like whistling like "If I Only Had a Heart."
That's right.
Which I thought it was "If I Only Had a Brain," but apparently it's both. It can be both, like depending on who's singing it. The Tin Man with the Scarecrow.
Yeah, because it's kind of the same like song, I guess. As she's picking up each one, they go back to that same refrain, I guess.
But so Graves and Data are hanging out, and then
there's a scene away from them.
And then there's a scene with Data. Oh, Graves dies.
Yeah.
And Data walks out, and he says he doesn't recognize that song. He walks out whistling that song. So everyone in the audience is like, "Oh shit! Like that dude's in his brain now."
Right, because he mentioned before he died, like, I've created a machine that's going to help me best death. And you're like, "Oh, great! Well, good for you. Then we'll just be rolling on out of here." And there's this child he's been living with.
This young woman who actually, I recognized her. She was one of the moms on One Tree Hill. Mm. Very, very beautiful woman.
I never watched that.
She was in Playboy. Mm. You want to look that up?
I do. I will look it up after the show. Maybe during if you start boring.
Barbara Alyn Woods. Alyn spelled, or Alyn maybe, Alyn. So if you want to see her naked, I'm sure the internets can help you with that.
If anybody's ever been naked, the internet is
on it.
It really is.
So Data starts acting more and more like Graves because Graves is all up in his Graves.
There's a pretty funny scene where where he's eulogizing Graves, and like again, Brent Spiner gets a chance to ham it up, and like saying shit like to know him was to love him, and to love him was to know him. But he says it like 3 times in a row, and like just.
Wesley thinks it's like the craziest thing ever. He's like, Data, you're acting so weird. What's up?
And Picard's like, you're done.
And it's like, all right, no. And Picard finally figures it out. And
right, but
because Data starts throwing like
game at
Barbara Alyn Woods. Well, like she shows up to the bridge, and Picard's like, just being friendly or whatever. Maybe he is spitting game at her, whatever. But Data gets crazy jealous, and he's like, she's not into older men. And he's like, all right.
Believe me, I tried back whenever I had an old man body.
And so Data / Graves reveals himself to Barbara.
And 10 forward, they're at the bar, right?
And and he's
like, I'll make you one of these too.
I'm like, I'll make you an android body.
She starts crying. She's like, I don't want to live forever.
She's like, that's fucking creepy. You're a creepy man.
Yeah, so fuck you. And he breaks her hand by accident, doesn't he?
Does he break it or just he
fractures it or something? Because she's in sickbay later.
Oh, okay.
Pulaski's...
She's like, you're hurting my hand. He's like, whatever. Breaks 2 bones in her hand.
Yeah.
And so Picard is like, look, dude, you gotta knock this off. You gotta leave his body. That's not yours.
You've gotta. Yeah, Troy's the one who figures it out, right? She reads him and she's like, there are 2 personalities inside of Data. And
he knocks.
Which is
Picard out. He attacks Picard and knocks him out.
That's right.
And
that's a first, right? Seeing Picard get bested physically.
well,
we haven't really seen him in a fight.
Exactly.
But it's interesting.
But he does convince him to give up Data's body because he's like, look, dude, like if the only reason you did this was because of Barbara, then she's not down.
She is not available.
And so
he knocks out Geordi first, right? And it happens in the engine room where Worf killed It's like, look, a lot of our bad dudes end up here.
Picard, like, finds Geordi, like, knocked out already.
That's right. And he's like, he wouldn't let me in. I had to do it. And he's like...
Well, because he accidentally knocks out Picard. Just because, like,
he doesn't know his own
a fit of passion almost. Right. And he's like, holy shit. Like,
well, he didn't mean to break the girl's hand either.
Exactly.
Like, he doesn't know how to drive
he's
a student
He's
driver.
like Lenny from Of Mice and Men.
Yeah,
he just can't help it squeezing Bunny so damn hard.
He just loves everybody too much.
So, he transfers his knowledge into the Enterprise's computer, but not his personality, like not his consciousness. So they got his brain squirrel,
but not his soul.
And then what a rotten soul to have. Anyway.
Yeah, seriously, you don't want that crudden up the Enterprise's hard drive. So Data wakes up and he's himself again, and he's like, "What's up?"
And he starts to say something, and Picard is like, "All right, that's enough."
Yeah, that's him.
He's like, "Yeah, that's him. Okay, let's go."
Grumpy
make it so. Like, let's get the fuck out. Like, Riker's like, should we get the fuck out of here? Yeah, make it so.
Make it so. And that was the Schizoid Man. I think that was, for my money, the weakest of the bunch. I
thought Unnatural Selection, the next episode, is the weakest.
It was close between
I thought
the two.
If this episode happened like now, like if there's a show and a new character was introduced, and then this is like our 7th or 8th week into it.
Yeah.
Like maybe 10 weeks into the series.
Right.
Like she's as universally reviled as Pulaski is, like that would be this character's like death, this
would be like the Nikki and Paolo episode.
Like things happen so quickly now that like a character like Pulaski would be written off the show like midway through.
Yeah,
like they're like, oh,
well, because the creators are getting constant feedback from social media.
Exactly,
and they shape the show to it.
And so, like I said, if this episode happened today, I would think like, oh, Pulaski's definitely going to die at the end of this episode.
That would have been a bold move.
She doesn't, although she should have.
That's the summary. And now on to A Matter of Honor.
There's a discussion on the Facebook thread, facebook.com/Into Dorkness.
Join us.
About like genetic experimentation and engineering. Like, when are they gonna this time will be different?
It's true.
They get a distress call from the Lantry. Everyone's dead. Everyone's like dead of old age.
Yeah, they hack into the view screen and so they can get a peek on board,
which was very cool.
Yeah, that was pretty dope. Was that Riker's idea?
Yes. They use like an access code basically.
I'm liking that character more.
Riker's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Especially by the end of this week.
When he gets the beard.
Seriously, the boner smiles go away with the beard, right?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't noticed it, because I'm sure he's still doing it, but the beard is, like,
I'm just too caught up in the beard. Yeah. Exactly. He's
the beard's catching the creepy.
The beard is the Reva of the boner smile and our uncomfortable our uncomfortable level.
It's teaching us both sign language.
And so they're all dead from old age, even though they're only like in their mid-30s.
Right, and
Riker's like, I know that fool. Like, I played polo in college with that dude.
He's like, he was my age. And they've seen them all recently, right? They saw the crew like 13 weeks ago, or they've only been out of dock for like 13 weeks.
And so they figure out that there's this... Well, they have genetically engineered children.
Right, they track it back to the station, the space station.
And it's a disease that they have.
Right, the deadly years disease has gotten loose.
Yes, again. They bring one in stasis and like covered in like, I don't know, like plastic wrap.
Yeah, I was trying to figure, there's some other sci-fi like not precedent, but another thing that used that, and I'm trying to remember.
It's like
I can like see it, but I can't.
I can kind of. It's like,
you know what I'm talking about,
it's like
right?
a clear, like if you're like pulling it off your face.
Yeah. God damn it! That'll come to me. It kind of reminds me of like the thing Tom Cruise is wearing on his face in Vanilla Sky, whenever Penelope Cruz is peeling it off. Except that was more like translucent than like transparent, but I don't know what I'm thinking of. But yeah, they figure out, like, the doctor on the station's like, I'm only 35, and she's like very matronly.
Yeah, I mean, she's like, only 35. I'm like, I could see you being 35.
Look,
like she doesn't look like,
you look like 35.
She doesn't look like Pulaski at the end of this episode, who like looks like Betsy Ross.
No, she looks. She looks like my elementary school librarian.
Yeah.
You know, like north of 35 for sure.
Yeah, but
you know, had a lot of good meals behind her.
And so
and she says, "Look, the kids aren't sick, so beam them out."
And they're like, "I don't know about that."
The doctor's like, "Mm-mm."
And so Pulaski has the one.
Right, and they take a lot of caution. They use a force field to beam the kid.